Doing today. Um, Hope everyone's having a good day. I'm gonna wait, see if I can see some people pop up here. If you see me, let me know in the chat, please. I do have it up right now, so I'm hoping to hear from somebody. I'll start talking once I get some people in here. Hope everyone's having a good day. Trying to fix this live stream right now so I can see if anyone's in the room here with me. Hope y'all can hear me good too. So bear with me, having some technical difficulties. You know, I don't do this often. I try to, at least. Oh, is anybody in here? Hopefully I can get my chat going. Oh, what are you doing to me? And Michelle, I see you. I hope you're having a good day. So, can you hear me okay though, Michelle? Yes, nice. So I wanted to pop on here and just kind of go over some things here. Some things have been on my mind lately. 5x5, that would work for me, ma'am. I appreciate it, and I thank you so much for your stream yesterday. I apologize I wasn't able to stay on there longer. As you know, I'm just trying to find work, so that's what I've been doing. but I wanted to share some of my thoughts about time travel today. And just starting to sit here and kind of think about some things here. As you know, I am a type of person that I believe sometimes they try to tell us things in a lot of different formats. What I have noticed is, like with everything, it's always kind of put in our faces. More or less love you. Yeah, I love you too, Michelle. So I put on here, as far as display, just some pictures and that I came across. I've noticed that in time they put out a lot of books, TV shows, movies, all about the possibility of time travel. Now, I am a firm believer that time is an illusion, but it makes me wonder, though, if people were actually going back in time and causing changes, even though they think it's not big, maybe that's causing some of these Mandela effects, that things are merging together. As I started kind of digging around and pulling up pictures just to look at things, one of the things that grabbed my attention the most was it was another YouTuber. Her name is Overprotected. If you haven't checked out her channel, I highly suggest you do. She posted a video recently as far as of a Mandela effect of, on her sink, there was a name brand that came up. And I've dug deep in trying to find out what this name brand is, and I can't find it anywhere. So I noticed, though, that it was a Chinese word. Yeah, Sherry. There it is right now on the screen. And makes me wonder, though, with everything that's going on, all the tariffs, if maybe somebody's going back and trying to change the past. In today's day and age, I don't see how that would be far-fetched, personally. But you never know. And the reason why I say that is just, if you kind of look at things, like some of these pictures, and I know they might be fake, they might be hoaxes. I wonder deeply about that, only because if somebody wanted to go back and establish themselves in our country, what better way to do it than to go back to where our country was at a younger stage in life? Certainly it would be something I would do if I had the opportunity, and I'm not saying I would, but if I was in a situation where I wanted to kind of put myself and establish myself in history, I would do that. And what I threw up here as far as in the slideshow was just kind of some examples of books, comics, TV shows. Star Trek's always covered it. The Next Generation has done episodes as well. You name it. So I even believe that there's passages in the Bible. There's one in particular, and that's the Transfiguration, when Jesus was speaking to Moses and Elijah. I was having a hard time, and of course I'm not a Bible scholar, of looking it up in the past from the Old Testament, because I remember reading it, I just don't recall where I read it. But I almost feel like those two events were one and the same, where Moses was talking to people, and where, people witnessed Moses speaking to two strangers, and then we go into the New Testament, and then you got Matthew 17:3, where they witnessed Jesus speaking to Moses and Elijah. The closest thing I tried to find was Exodus 33:11, and I sometimes wonder if maybe that was their way of even though they were describing an event, maybe that was connected in some other way. Maybe in some way all powerful God, creator, whatever you call him. I call him God. But maybe he was trying to show us something there, that to show that time is an illusion and that it's not relevant. You know, we've seen it in movies like Back to the Future and like Back to the Future 2. Remember when, I don't know if you haven't seen the movie, but there was a part in the movie where old Biff goes back in time, gives young Biff an almanac of all the sporting events that he's able to bet on. He creates his mass wealth, and from there, he creates this whole new alternative timeline. Obviously, they got to try to go back and fix it, and yeah, you know, it's a movie, I know. But it does lead me to think about the fact that with some of these Mandela effects that we're seeing, with the slight alteration, if somebody went back and gave a suggestion of a slight alteration, then that would cause, in my opinion, an alternate reality, or even an alternate product. See, I come from a reality where I do clearly remember McDonald's with the MAC, not the MC, MAC. And I mean, people have argued, well, Big Mac. I don't know how many of y'all remember, but there was back in, say, maybe late 80s, 90s, McDonald's had a character called Mac Tonight. He basically had a half moon head. He played the piano, wore sunglasses. I just wonder why, if this was always Mick, MC, then why have a character named Mac, M-A-C? I mean, that's something I pondered for quite some time, and I kind of use that whenever I want to get into a debate with someone about the difference between Mick and Mac. You know, McDonald's. And yes, I know they don't call them Mac Nuggets, they're McNuggets. But if you're going to turn around and make a character, then why call him Mac Tonight instead of Mick Tonight? One of my many thoughts. Thank you, Megan Brown, for subscribing to my channel, and I also thank you, Awake, aka Michelle. Appreciate that. Hello, Megan. I appreciate you joining my channel and joining my live stream today. I'm still new to these live streams, so I apologize if I kind of stumble and I sound a little different. I'm working on trying to get some better technology. I'm also working on just trying to get out there and talk more. Hope the presentation's well and you like it. It's just something different I'm working with. But yeah, to get back to what I was saying about time, and the Mandela effect. Now, I put out a video I don't know, maybe about a week, 2 weeks ago now, maybe even less, about another theory I had, and it was as far as tiny black holes. Now, my thought was that maybe CERN, because they were actually supposed to be trying to create tiny black holes, maybe they turned around and created one that got out of control. And maybe it got so out of control that it just sucked in the whole earth, and maybe instead of us dying, we ended up in a similar earth that we shifted to. Some people say that. And that's why we're seeing these changes. And you know, changes like, instead of it being Home Depot, the Home Depot. Instead of McDonald's, it's McDonald's. The list goes on and on. Ford having instead of having a straight F, the line through the F has a little curly Q. I don't know, obviously. I'm just a regular guy here trying to figure things out just like everybody else. And I'm just coming now to a possible conclusion that sometimes when the powers that be, whoever they are, wants to show us something, that they're going to turn around and do it in a couple of different ways. Maybe in books, comic books, TV shows, movies. I mean, after all, it is called programming, correct? That's why, as I was digging through this, and then of course, you know, I was running across all these pictures of supposedly proof of time travel. It made me think more. I've always been a big sci-fi guy, so I've always been interested and fascinated with all things that are unexplained, or the possibilities as far as where we could go as a, not only as a species, but as a civilization, as a race, as a, you name it. So these types of subjects have been kind of in the back of my mind for some time, and I just felt like today was a day that I wanted to get out there and kind of just talk about it and get people's opinions on the subject. See what you guys think. You know, it's one of those situations to where I question a lot, and I'm always asking questions, and maybe that's my downside. I don't know. But at least feel that there's got to be something going on, some sort of truth to all of it. Now, what it is, I don't know. But I at least feel that my theories might have some validity, just a tad bit. Not much, just a little bit. And you know, and then that, just to say hi to everyone, see how everyone was doing today. Thank everyone who has subscribed. Thank everyone who's tuning in and hearing me today. I appreciate you more than you guys even know. I don't get out much, so this is kind of my way of trying to kind of get out there and talk to people about certain things, maybe things that are on my mind, see if maybe other people are thinking the same thing too. Thank you, Silent J, for subscribing to my channel. I appreciate it. Welcome. Yeah, that's primarily what I wanted to talk about, was just to get some opinions on what you guys are feeling is going on out there. Maybe you've seen something. You know, maybe you're witnessing something. Now, Michelle, I know your viewpoints on a lot of subjects, which is one of the things I love about you the most. And you know, again, I'm just kind of giving my side of how I see things in this world. And then, you know, there's some other things I wanted to talk about. I know right now the biggest hype is the webcam in Paris, and if you haven't found it or seen it, there's a webcam that's at Saint Leon or something. For like the last couple of nights, this green circle's been appearing, and some people believe it's a portal in the sky. Some think it's maybe just a reflection off of the lens. I don't know. I've looked at it for like a couple of nights now. The only thing I found interesting about that whole channel and that whole event is that for when I started seeing it, which was Saturday night, and it was on a YouTuber that I listened to, Naughty Beaver. He was the one covering it and talking about it. So I happened to go over there and found the cam myself and was watching it. Saturday night and Sunday night, they just live streamed. They've been live streaming it since May, but there was no live chat. Now all of a sudden on Monday, the live chat was opened up for everybody. Hello, Silent J, welcome. And let me get my disclaimer right out there now. Sometimes, guys, my mind goes to different ways. I kind of get a little ADD, I guess, so I'll jump right off and then back on. So I apologize ahead of time. But I'm wondering, as far as that channel is concerned with their live stream, if they're doing it on purpose just to kind of get views and get people to check them out. Because when I last checked, they almost had close to 800 likes, and there was a time that they almost had close to 200 people watching. Even in their chat, they had on close to 140, 150 people. in the chat room, which was crazy to me, for the fact that everyone was sitting there pretty much staring at a webcam of an ocean view with a green circle in it. And I even looked at it right before I went on live stream, just because I was curious to see. And there's literally 40 people, or it was like 30 to 40 people that were just sitting there watching the cam because they're looking for something to come out of it or something to change. That it's on Facebook too, Michelle. Wow. And you see, and then seeing that's the problem. Probably with Facebook, that's probably my fault, because when I first noticed it and saw it, and I thought it was something great, and I wanted to get it out there, so I did throw it into the Mandela Researchers group, and I think it's kind of spread from there. So I apologize, because again, if it was something fantastic or crazy going on, then I felt the word needed to get out, because I didn't understand why more people weren't talking about it. I since then have kind of just changed my viewpoint on that, because for a minute and left, that's the norm. See, that's why I'm not too sure. I know there's a few YouTubers that have been posting videos and talking about it. I kind of left it alone only because I wasn't sure, and obviously I didn't want to promote anything that was kind of misdirection or wrong. I felt bad that I already kind of threw it out there and said things about it before I did my own research into it and watched it, but I guess I felt at the time it was something that needed to be brought up. Oh, sweet. Thank you. Because from where I'm sitting here right now looking at, all I can see is the chat. I can't really see my YouTube right now with this new system that's set up. Guys, I don't know. I've seen a lot of strange things. I just recently started playing around with Google Earth, and I'm literally floored by the way some of these continents are getting closer and closer together. And if you haven't gone on Google Earth, I highly suggest you do, just to check it out. The UK and France, I did a measurement on it the other day for the English channel, and it's literally like 23 miles apart, which is insane, because from what I remember from history, it was like for people to sail from France to England, it took like a longer journey than less than 23 miles. And then Sicily and Italy are literally, there's one point where I measured that's literally 3 miles away, which doesn't make sense why there's not a bridge then that connects the two. And there probably is. I don't know. Obviously, I've never been out of the United States, so I can't really, say, well, I've been there and I've seen it. I haven't. But it's just very odd to see the way some of these, as far as geography is concerned, is set up all completely different than what I recall. And I was kind of big on that back in school, besides history. And don't even get me started on history, because that leads me to believe that somebody's tampering with some of our history. I feel like, at least in my own mind. Again, it's just, and of course that's why I threw these examples out here. Primarily it was just to get people's opinion on the subject, see what you guys thought, and maybe if you see seen something that I hadn't seen, you can bring it to my attention at least, because I'm always open to hear other people's viewpoints on the subjects like this, and as well as any of my other videos that I produce. The only thing I ask is just please be nice. You can get your point across without having to be mean about it. And if you don't believe in what I'm saying or don't agree, I totally understand. We're all individuals. It's like pretty much one of the things I've always known. You're born in this world alone, and you're going to leave this world alone. And no one else can tell you anything different than what's in your own head and what your own experiences are. That doesn't mean that, I'm right or you're wrong, or you're right, I'm wrong. It's just your point of view. That's one of the things I love about YouTube and the communities, is that everyone's got a point of view. Not to mention, you can just learn so many different things by just tuning into what other people have to say. I do my best to try to tune into a lot of people and support them. And you know, guys, if you haven't checked out Michelle's Opinions channel yet, I highly suggest you do so. She's got a lot of very good information out there, and she's very nice, guys. She's one of the few ones that helped me get started on here, so I could at least get on here and start talking about some of my experiences and just some of the things that are going on in my mind and just what's happening around me, physically and mentally. You know, I wanted to get on here and talk to everyone. So with that being said, is there anyone that's got something interesting you want to bring up, talk about? I mean, I kind of laid out, you know, I was going to do a video on this, but you know, as I thought about it more and more. Oh, hi. Well, welcome, Becky Day, and I appreciate you for joining us. You know, I'm just a normal guy here trying to get used to talking to each and every one of you guys. You know, it's odd when you sit here. Hey, Overprotected, welcome. Thank you for joining. I was just actually talking about you and your channel. If you notice right up there now, your video popped up. That made me want to kind of talk to this a little bit more about the land, about your sink. And wanted to kind of point out, well, my thoughts is that's why I'm kind of sticking this out here right now, is that my thoughts on the changing timelines is I feel like somebody's doing something now with Overprotected sink that she did a video on. You know, it's very odd that was that word that came up. Honor Sink is not from a brand I've ever heard of. Closest thing I found to it was a company in China that does like water pressure valves. And it made me kind of think that if the technology is out there today and people are actually able to time travel, and with all these tariffs and things going on as far as, you know, what Trump's adding on there, she wanted to turn around. Or my thoughts is that maybe sorry, I'm stumbling over my own words. My thoughts was, what would stop China from going back in time and trying to establish themselves in our United States history? You know, if they couldn't import and it was costing too much, I guess my thought would be, if I had this device that I could go back in time and establish a company in another country, then I would do it. Because obviously, if I've already got something there, then I'm not paying any of those high tariff fee, you know, trade export fees, whatever you want to call them. I would just have it there, and it's already there. And then we would see weird things like that name popping up on the sink. That's my thought. I don't know if anyone's ever seen and I popped it up here, you guys should see it somewhere on the slide, but Sound of Thunder. It's a sci-fi movie. It was about people going back on time, on tours, and then they're supposed to stand on this path. They're not supposed to touch anything and that. Well, one guy steps off the path because a Tyrannosaurus is chasing him, and he steps on a butterfly. When they come back, all types of craziness. They got like huge bats. Apes are like half reptilian. All from that one event. There it is, The Sound of Thunder. It just makes me think, though, that what would stop other countries that had an issue with us from going back in time and trying to establish themselves here in the earlier parts of American history? You know, these are the thoughts that makes me wonder about certain things that happen or certain things I see that appear. And that, yeah, Overprotected. That's what made me kind of, that's your video's what started it for me, was that when I saw that it was that Chinese word and I couldn't find anything about it, and of course I'm kind of keeping tabs. I'm going to be checking periodically to see it made me wonder that if another country had this type of tech, would they go back and change it? Would they go back and establish themselves to where they could turn around then and getting into the present day, they're established here in our country, and we would not know the difference. That's my thought. Thanks, Michelle. I look at things sometimes on a little bit different angle of it, because if something that I can't explain, obviously I'm going to start digging into it just to see what I can find about it, and then try to come up with my own conclusions. And of course, I'm the type of guy that I try to connect the dots. I'm not saying it's right, because I really don't know. It's not like I have a PhD or any other type of degree. I did do some college, but most of my experiences are just, I was out in the world. I got married young, a little too young, but it is what it is. I started having kids and started living life. And, I was kind of doing the everyday grind like everybody else out there in the world for quite some time. And it wasn't until I noticed the Ford symbol had changed. And at first, like everybody else, I thought it was just a normal change. I thought that maybe the company had changed it. But as I started digging into it more and more, then I started seeing things that weren't right. Oh, you're so sweet, Michelle. The idea of Fordson, that I had never heard it. And guys, let me just say right off the bat, I am a big car guy. I've grown up always liking cars. You name it, from the TV shows like Starsky and Hutch, the Dukes of Hazzard, Knight Rider, the A-Team, and I had all the actual little Matchbox Hot Wheel cars of these shows. Magnum PI because of the Ferrari. You name it, Transformers, GoBots. Those were one of my big things growing up as a kid. So cars has always been an part of my existence as far as who I am as an individual. My stepfather owned 3 garages, so I kind of grew up in there, being around cars constantly. So when I saw that Ford had changed the logo, and I started digging in and finding out about Fordson tractors and this whole Fordson thing, that was new. That's what kind of started me down the rabbit hole, as we like to say here. And then it got worse. The next one that really grabbed my attention was Camaro. Now, I've owned a 1970 Camaro, I've owned a 1989 Camaro, and I've also owned a 3 Camaro. So I've owned 3 of them in my lifetime since I've been driving. I'm 42, I've been driving since I was 16. Never, ever was it spelled to me C-A-M-A-R-O. It was always C-A-M-E-R-O. Camaro. To see the A, that threw me off. Not to mention the minus the E out of the word Chevrolet to begin with. Once I started seeing these types of changes, I started digging into a lot more. And then I started, coming across other channels that were showing all these things that have changed, that were presenting their evidence. And needless to say, I went down the rabbit hole just like everybody else to where we're at today, where now here I am. And I would never thought I'd been on here live talking to people. That was just, I wasn't very big on speaking. And part of the reason why is because my mind goes in so many different directions. I jumble around my words sometimes because I got so much I want to say, and my mind sometimes moves faster than my mouth can actually get it out. And I agree, Michelle. A lot more life experiences are always more of a lesson than anything you can learn in a book. I'm a firm believer of seeing and doing. I got to see it more so than I could read. And Becky, I thank you so much for being here, and thank you, Michelle, for inviting her. I mean, all are welcome here on my page. All are welcome here to express and tell me about your experiences. Tell me I'm a real laid back, easy guy. I'm not hard about anything. My life is very basic. I get up when I am working, because unfortunately I'm laid off right now. Um, Temporarily, I'll get back to work. Uh, but when I'm not at work, then I'm home. And when I'm home, I spend time with my wife. And right now, we're here in Florida. We're trying to get ourselves back to Colorado, because I have kids and grandkids out there that I'd like to be closer to and see. And I quit watching a lot of TV. I'd highly suggest to a lot of people do that, because TV is just very bad. It's just, there's certain things I can't even just stomach anymore. It's sad how bad TV has gotten, in my opinion. It amazes me that the FCC allows so much language and the nudity and just so much of this other stuff to take place that it's sickening to me. I do watch a couple of shows, but it's not that. But I mean, they're more like cable, so there's not really so much. I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, first of all, hello, moms, loves, Hillary one. I appreciate you for joining. Um, yeah, and I agree with you. I only watch a show here or there just because, again, I'm a big comic fan too. If you haven't figured it out by now, just by looking at my page. So there are some shows I watch as far as like The Flash and that, just because I'm into that. It's Other than that, I don't watch it. I try to pay attention to what's going on outside. When I was younger, I would spend more time outdoors, looking at grass, looking at bugs, looking at the nature, looking at the sky, looking at just anything else I possibly can. Um, and to me, it was great because I seen so many things that you miss. Uh, you know, Animals that maybe most people wouldn't even notice. Um, Besides animal, just the way a plant. Like, when's the last time anyone's really sat down and just even looked at grass? I have. I've looked at grass a few times. Just to watch how it grows, how the complexity of the colors are in it. You know, it's alive. I've watched plants. My wife had actually saved this one vine-like plant from the garbage once. And over time, I watched how the vines. AOP3 Crimson, I appreciate that, sir. What's up to you as well, man? I appreciate you coming by and saying hi. I know you're at work, so thank you, sir. More than you know, I thank you. I thank all you guys, man. It's cool to sit here and realize that people want to hear what I got to say. Because I sometimes think that no one wants to hear what I got to say. But to get back to what I was saying about my wife's plant, so she bought this little like vine plant, or found it in the trash actually. And appreciate that, sir, very much. And when she bought it, or found it, sorry, I keep saying buy it, but she actually found it in the garbage and brought it back to life. These vines were like barely coming out of it. And in time, when we had it on our back porch, this thing would grow, and these vines got so long that I used to mess with her and say, oh, it's after me, because it was weird. It was almost like it would grow towards me. And she'd laugh it off and say, but I mean, if you think about it, I mean, again, it's a live thing, just like anything else out there. It's all life. And you should really, if you haven't, you should really spend some time to take a good look around at just some of the more simpler things in life. What's that saying? If you don't take time to stop and smell the roses. I'm sorry, I'm going to read. I'm seeing Mom Loves Hillary 1. Oh, that's crazy. For a Fiero? No Ferrari. It's a wannabe Ferrari, maybe. That's the way I'd have seen it. I wanted a Fiero when I was in high school, but I just could never come across one. And not only that, I was worried for a long time I wouldn't even fit into one. That's one of the few small cars I can actually fit, because I'm like 6'4". So I can't fit into a lot of the, like, I know the Honda or the Acura Integra, I can't fit into that. I'm so big that my head goes into the roof and I'm actually leaning into the glass. But you know, that's where I'm at, and I wonder sometimes if that's what caused me to wake up more, was because I was so observant to what's going on around me that I didn't accept the updates or programs or whatever you want to call them. I was just the type of guy that, you know, if I didn't buy it, I'm not going to buy it. I'm sorry, I won't accept it, just because it's not that I'm trying to be stubborn. It's just that if it seems very kind of not there, I'm at least going to dig into it to find out why. At least to understand why maybe I won't accept it, or maybe I will once I get more information. But I just, you know, I've always learned not to take anything at face value first and foremost. I'm also the type of guy that I was brought up by my grandfather, who taught me a long time ago, you know, about certain entities. I'm not going to call them out, but let's just say DC, that they lie. And here's my story about that. My grandfather spent 29 years in the Air Force as a master sergeant. He was stationed over in Okinawa. He told me one time on the news, it came over the radio, that there was a certain type of jet that wasn't supposed to be on Okinawan soil anymore, and that they announced that there's no longer, this plane is on, they got it all off the soil. He's sitting in his office, he said he spun around, there was 3 squadrons of that jet on Okinawan soil. So once he told me that, that's when he explained to me that the government will lie to you, people will lie to you, not to trust anything as face value. So that's, long short, that's where I got, at least maybe that the idea in my head that not to always take everything at face value, and always do your own research, your own digging, your own come to your own conclusions, you know, because again, it's we're all, I mean, granted we come together as a group, but we're still our own individual. Yeah, and that's Michelle. That's pretty much why I threw these on here. These are all supposed to be pictures of proof of time travel. The thing that bugs me most about some of these pictures, though, with the cell phones, is how they actually able to communicate. I mean, there's people on it where you know there aren't cell phone towers. So unless technology is advanced to where they're able to communicate, I wonder. You know, that's why I threw them up there to see. You know, unless it's 5G. I mean, we all know that 5G is coming out. I have no idea what it's going to do, but I just know it's out. Exactly. That's my point. Who are they talking to? And you know, Mom loves Hillary 1. Have you noticed how I love how styles repeat themselves? I think now what they got jeans out that they're selling for like hundreds of dollars with all the rips and holes in them. And remember when that used to be a thing? At least for me, it was back in the 90s. Yeah, I know that one too. That's why I said all these ones I found, and I had more, but I wanted to at least get these out here right away to at least, you know, cover what I wanted to talk about. Yep, there it is. And the glasses too. And of course, I threw in, just some examples of movies. I had more, but apparently I didn't get them into my file. So, and I wanted to kind of get out there and talk to you guys. So I wanted to, and then I hope everyone likes how I'm doing it. I just, instead of seeing my avatar talking or my face, I figured, let me throw out some things that this was all I was going to do in a video, and I just decided it'd be better if I just went live stream. I threw up there right now the grandfather paradox, which was, the idea that if you went back in time and killed your grandfather, you can erase the person of the future, or a grandfather of a person, that you'd be able to wipe them out. And in actuality, it's supposed to really just create a brand new alternate timeline, a whole new reality from that event. Again, I don't know how true that is. Hey, 9 watching, 9 likes. I can explain. I love that. By the way, that painting is supposed to be called The Remembrance of Time, which I found was interesting, considering I just thought it was very interesting with the Mandela and all that, as far as how it works. That was the actual name of the painting, and I'm probably quoting it wrong, so I apologize. I kind of wrote some brief little notes here. Sound of Thunder, that was a distant little short story before they became the movie. And of course, me being big into Superman comics, there was some reference to that. Oh, thank you, Mom's Love, Hillary One. This is actually just a program I downloaded and kind of been working with. It's supposed to be used more for the what is it? Twitch. I think it is. That's the other live streaming that they do for gaming, but I just decided, let me throw it on there. Actually, no, I'm not using my phone today. This is on my Nextbook laptop is what I'm on today. I went and actually got it from a pawn shop for $60, and I'm just I kind of threw it together just because I wanted to, I've watched a lot of other people's live streams and how they do things differently, and I just wanted to give my own kind of unique spin on how I would do a live stream, and to give you guys just things to look at. I appreciate that. And again, thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that too, because it's rough. It was real hard to figure it out at first. I'm still trying to get it somewhere. I know there's more to it. I can do more live stuff and videos. I just haven't quite got there yet. Just been experimenting right now as far as with my slides and my symbol down there in the bottom. It's actually in there. It's it's called a widget, so it's able to add it up there for me automatically. I had to go and just add it on and give it authorization to put the live chat up, so that way I could see it, because I want to at least be able to see you guys and talk to you guys without having to go to my phone. Primarily because I'm also on my mobile hotspot right now for my phone. Oh, thank you. My wife likes the pink one too. I'm hoping if I get popular enough in here that maybe I can throw some t-shirts together. Just a thought. Everyone else seems to have a t-shirt, so I'd like to be able to do one. No, it's not through OBS. It's actually called Xstreaming, I believe. Let me look. Yeah, streaming live. They got YouTube videos on how to do it. I kind of sat there and watched a few of them. That's why I picked this system. I wanted to do something that was different. I know you use OBS, Michelle, and I think I don't know, Lone sometimes goes with what Google Hangouts. I know that's what Scarab does. So I just wanted to give a different layout to it. I didn't want to stream anything below it today, so I just decided to throw what's my symbol. It's supposed to represent my name in Kryptonian out there. Oh yeah, I agree. Mom's loves. I'm working on it. Kind of on a shoestring budget right now. But I'm going to down the line. I actually even found another one here of a program of where I can add that to other things like watches and whatnot. So I've been playing around with it a little bit. I try to establish it for myself just so that way, there's a representation. Everyone's got their own little thing. Scarab's got his, Lone's got his. Michelle, I think you even got yours. So that's why I made it my avatar. Kind of my symbol was just my way of kind of sticking it out there so people would see it and get you guys' opinions of what you thought about it too. I appreciate you guys like it. I was gonna reach out to OP3 Crimson about it and see if he could do a little tweak, but I just haven't gotten around to it. So is everyone having a good day? I hope you all are, wherever you're at in the world. It's sunny and hot here. Yeah, well, I mean, I could come up with some suggestions for you, Michelle, if you'd like. I haven't, I kind of dig around from them every now and then. This was one that, because I was always into Superman, I wanted my own Kryptonian symbol, and there was an actual website that generated it for me. So that's where this came from. And then, of course, I've had it with me a long time. It's been sitting in kind of up there, I guess, in the cloud, you want to call it, whatever. And I just started kind of recently playing with the different color schemes on it just to give it a different take. That's what it is on my when I do my videos. I do that with a FX color to change it. No problem. I appreciate you saying that, but hey, I'll help you out. I got nothing but time these days. Individual beauty and freedom. All right. Well, if you can do me a favor, shoot me an email about that, and at least then I can try to narrow it down to what you want. Yeah, true. But with me, I'd like to be more just, represent my page, myself. Give you guys maybe something cool. I thought it would look cool. That's why with the pink, I know Mrs. Kryptonian, she likes the pink one a lot. So that's what the pink's for, was for herself. So when she's on YouTube, she pops in every now and then. Mark my word. Mom's love, you made me think about that. What was the one that we used to have on Trapper Keepers? Do you remember with the unicorns and the dolphins? I don't know the name of the artist, but that type of work. That's when you bring up unicorns and rainbows. That's the first thing I think about. Hey, and I get it. Represent them. I agree. Lisa Frank. There you go. Thank you. I couldn't remember the name of it, but I could clearly see the artwork back in high school days. Yeah, she was good. She was a good artist. I clearly, I mean, that's one that kind of resonates hard for me. I was always big into art growing up, so that was another thing I was into. I think that's why I think I liked Transformers so much, was the details. And I don't know about anyone. Speaking of that, with cartoons and that, man, it seems like people are getting lazy these days, man. I remember back in the day, cartoons, they put some work into the artwork. Now it's like they just kind of throw it together, stick it out there, and it's a show. Um, what else? So yeah, I mean, so to get back to what my initial topic was as far as with time travel, you know, I've stumbled across things like this a while back, and I mean, like the hieroglyphs. The hieroglyphs, that one threw me for a loop, and then of course, you know, this one right here, that was like, what? I mean, I don't know how new or how old it is. Obviously, someone could turn around and present something online and say, "Oh, this is 1,000 years old," and I don't know. No one really knows for sure, in my opinion, unless you're right there looking at it. And I'm not an archaeologist. No, I never saw that. Um, yeah, and you see, like, even that, I still question: is it real? Is it not? You know, did they add this in and throw it out there and claim it is? I don't know. It's just odd to me. And this is actually part of a video that supposedly shows it in the background, that one. Looks like an iPhone to me. And that's a crazy thing too. You know, I never owned an iPhone. I don't know why. I think maybe it's the price. Yeah, the shoes tripped me out too when I ran across that. But yeah, this hieroglyph right here, I saw this some years before the Mandela affected me. Yeah, I'm an Android man. It's again, it's cost. And I was real reluctant for a lot of years to even get on to a smartphone. I know when it came out, what, 2007? I still had my flip regular phone. And part of the reason why I was so adamant about not getting one at the time was I used to go meet up my wife for like lunches. We'd go have lunch together, or you know, meet her after work, or take her in the morning. And while I was sitting there waiting on her, I'd watch people come out, and the first thing everyone did was put their nose right into that smartphone. And it bugged me because I used to watch them and think, wow, you're missing so much of the world going on around you, and the only thing you're in is in that phone right off the bat. The only reason why I even now have a smartphone is Metro, on my birthday about 2 years ago, actually had a deal that if you switched, and I was with Cricket, another company at the time, with my flip phone, and it's like if you switch, you get 2 free phones with the service. So that was why the wife and I did that, was because it was like, all right, you know, we'll get off this flip phone, we'll get ourselves our own smartphone. And I've had it for 2 years. I haven't even I'm fine with it. There's nothing wrong, in my opinion. The only thing I wish I could do is get rid of the stupid ads that keep popping up, which I know is with doing with an app. I'm just being lazy about erasing it. I got an LG K7 is what I'm working with. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, it's out there. It's all over the place. If you Google Mom's Love Hillary one, Google proof of time travel and click images, you'll see a ton. People put them out all over. That's where I basically got these from. Was I went on Google Images and told Google, show me that, and then give me all these different types. I had more. I thought I had more, but like I said, that's what I could pretty much, I guess, got through from when I tried to email, because I did this all on my phone, and then I transferred it over to my computer so I could put it up here. Oh, the Maryland one? Yeah, it should come around soon. I tried to set it a little longer so you guys get it better, because it was first doing like 2 seconds per image, and I knew that was too fast, so I tried to move it to like 8 seconds per image. Hey guys, and I appreciate y'all paying attention, listening to me, because I just come to find out the other day that my wife hasn't even caught a live stream from me yet, or even really listened to any of my videos. Isn't that nice? But I understand. She's here anyway, so half the stuff I'm talking about now, she's already heard thousands upon thousands of times. Yeah, it's not that hard. It wasn't that hard to do as far as to set it up. In fact, the company that makes this program, they put a bunch of how-to videos. It's very quick, but I think they're mostly like 2 to 5 minutes long, at that. And they show you how to add it. It's a very easy system. The hardest part I'm having right now is that trying to just get more. I want to add more on there because I know there's like videos and that I want to be able to do. So that's going to be probably my next one I'm going to work on at some point. I'm sorry, Mom. Mom loves Hillary. Your husband just yells at you. I can't say I'm with you on that because my wife has been affected as well. J.C. Penney was the one that kind of put her down the rabbit hole. She clearly remembers it as the Penny, not the Nney. So once she realized that wasn't the case, that was changed. That's what kind of opened her mind up a little bit more to starting seeing things. And of course, she remembers Berenstein. Bears, not the Berenstain. What else did she tell me? That she's Home Depot. She remembers that there was no the. And then, there's been I've talked about it before, but then our physical Mandela change that took place with a restaurant. Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, that's at least you got someone. I know it's rough for some people that don't have anyone to talk to about it. I know that's why we come together in these communities or on these channels and talk, so that way we can at least talk about our own experiences. Exactly, I agree with Michelle. That is a blessing. It was a blessing that at least I have her to talk to about it, and we can sit down together and listen. Gotcha. Al Bundy type. As far as I see, it's still sparkling. I'm still trying to find a good program that I can use, Michelle, for it to be able to show up better. I haven't been out in the sun much lately, just because obviously I had no reason to go out there yet. I've been online, just applying there, and until I get an interview, I'm working on trying to get myself set up with an interview right now. So plus it's hot. It's real hot here in Florida. So the sun just is brutal to be out in a lot of the times. Last couple of days, it was a little nice, but not enough for me to be outside. But it's still sparkling. I haven't had any of the other crazy stuff that T. Taylor has talked about yet. So, but I mean, as soon as it does, obviously I'm going to capture it and I'm going to video it the moment it does, if it does happen. I mean, again, I don't know what's she's doing different than what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah. The missus and I watched that one where she's got the lettering coming out of her. She's not looking too forward to that. I said, well, if it happens, it happens, but we'll see. I haven't seen anything like that yet. Yeah, that's why when I used that in my video, why I had to say that, because I didn't know how else to describe it. And plus, I try to be at least a little clever when I do my video titles. Again, guys, I'm sorry I say I'm a lot. I just, when I'm thinking, I'm trying to think of what to talk about next or what to bring up. So yeah, I guess I have her back. From what she was saying, she says it's happened before. So she videotaped what she was showing. It was crazy. And thank you for subscribing as well. Mom loves Hillary 1. I appreciate it. I'll send her videos if you go. I don't know if it's the last one or it's the one before. I know the last one was a disclaimer she was having about her. She said her dude. I believe it's the one before her last video that I saw that had that. Check it out. It's really interesting. But that was it, guys. I wanted to at least, like I said, bring up my theories and thoughts about possibility, another thing that could be happening with the Mandela Effect. Maybe we got people going back in time, maybe as a tourist, maybe as something more nefarious, and they're trying to change things. So maybe that's why we're seeing these alternate weird changes that are taking place. I wondered sometimes. Yeah, I noticed that too. I guess I got to start doing it more live streams so I can get more people to listen. I wonder at times if that's what causes the flip-flop. You know, like one of the things I was trying to put up here in the slide that didn't make it over for some reason was the movie Time Cop. Anyone ever see that movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme? So it makes me wonder that maybe someone goes back and tries something, but maybe there's a policing force that tries to go and stop it and fix it. That's what makes me concerned. And by the way, if you guys, has anyone seen or heard about Sammy Hagar's name changing? Oh yeah, well apparently, well let me ask you, Moms Love Hillary 1. Spell Hagar. What do you guys think Hagar spelled like? For Sammy Hagar. Remember, I can't drive 55. Because I don't want to take credit for it. It was on Scare Performance's channel last night. He talked about it. They showed evidence. Yeah, saying that's the way I remember it too. But apparently it used to be Hazel Fiverr, one of Scare's crew members on his show, showed that it was Hager. Which, you know, I don't accept it. It doesn't. No. You know, that song in particular, me being big in cars, obviously I drive 55. In fact, I've even gotten plenty of speeding tickets from that song would come on, and I would just let loose on my car. I know. It doesn't make sense. I know. I agree. But apparently there's proof showing that it was Hager. Hager. I mean, that just, no. Did you? I'm sorry if I missed it. I know. I had a feeling. I just didn't want to come out and say it. I didn't want to be wrong. Okay, your phone that gotcha. All right, hey, I still appreciate you even tuning in. I didn't say I was bright now. Come on. Nowhere did I admit that I was, oh, I'm bright. No, I'm not bright. Plus, I'm looking around everywhere too, man, trying to talk right now. It's like, all right, I already know the images. I'm sorry, Becky. I didn't mean to confuse you. What can I help with the confusion? My live streams sometimes stay on point and then they go off on tangents. I apologize for that. I kind of have that situation where I don't sometimes. Sometimes one moment I think that, oh yeah, I want to say this next. Oh, okay. Well, I just want to make sure I wasn't confusing anyone. I know she. I figured that. But you know, I hope everyone's having a wonderful day wherever you're at. I'm gonna go ahead and probably end this now. I've kind of gotten to the. I think I've made my point, or at least got out there what I needed to say to each and every one. Again, I thank you all guys for checking me out and listening to what I have to say. Hope you all have such a beautiful day wherever you're at. And remember to love yourselves, to love each other, okay? You guys have a wonderful day, and I appreciate it again. Nice to meet you too, Becky. I appreciate it. You too, Michelle, and you too, Overprotected, and anyone else that hears my voice. You guys have a fabulous day, okay?